One of the hardest techniques to master that I teach in all of my workshops and all of my classes is to love a child even when they're being a challenge to love. And actually, this is probably the most important time to love your children is when they're being challenging, because children often will test boundaries with someone they love the most, such as usually the mother or the father, or a beloved teacher, sometimes a grandparent. Very rarely do they act this way around strangers or babysitters, or when there's friends of the family around. They're always testing the limits when it comes to those that they love. And what they're really asking is, can you love me even at my worst? Can you love me if I show you who I really am? And of course, the answer to that is yes. I actually have one of those really challenging children. I'm kind of waiting for the full transformation for him to become the Hulk, as we sometimes joke. He just loves to rage sometimes and show his anger, show that he's kind of king of the jungle and really test the limits sometimes. And what I found with him is when he is that way, if I show on my face that I'm upset or that I'm disappointed, or if I allow my voice to change or even my energy level, even just the slightest bit, it sort of enrages him even more. And a tip for managing children like this is to engage, don't enrage. And sometimes with him, I can tell that all I really need to do is just pick him up and love him. If he's acting out, I'll say, it seems like you need some love right now. Is it okay if I hold you? And I'll just pick him up and give him a hug, and I'll sometimes watch him just sort of melt into my arms. Other times when he's becoming really unruly, for example, putting him in his car seat is typically when he wants to put up a fight. Sometimes I will just tickle him and kiss him and snuggle him and try to make him laugh the best way that I can. Occasionally that's not the right choice. I've learned sort of when that's right and when it's not. Sometimes with children that can actually make things worse, but with him, in certain instances, I'm like, okay, this is a time that he really is just showing me he needs some affection, and I can laugh and usually distract him out of it. Other times when he's throwing a wall-eyed tantrum, especially out in public, where I can feel myself sort of getting embarrassed and probably wanting to raise my voice and wanting to reprimand him or yell at him because there's others around, that's usually when I have to be vocal and say, I love you so much. I love you even though you're screaming. I know that you're upset with me right now, but I love you even when you're yelling at me. Right now it's hard for me to love you, but I still do. Please get into your seat. I love you more than anything. And then I'll kiss him and I hug him, and I keep saying I love you over and over again. And part of that is kind of selfish in a way, that I'm sort of getting myself calm so that I don't become upset with him and enraged and say or do something that I'm going to regret later. But there's also part of that is just to let him know that no matter what you do, I'm going to love you through this. And when kids are that upset or out of sorts, it really doesn't do us any good to try to distract them or talk with them or lecture them or issue any kind of consequence for their behavior. More than anything, they just need love right there. And until they are calm, they're not going to receive any information, because the way that the toddler brain is still very divided. We've got the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. And the upstairs brain is very higher level thinking. The downstairs brain is very primitive. And when a child is feeling really enraged and backlashing at you and becoming upset, that's the primitive brain that's being engaged. And they can't actually do any absorbing or any higher level thinking until the primitive brain is calm, until we can get them up here into the upstairs brain. And so there's really no point in wasting your breath. Just try to stay calm and love your children even when they're being really upset. And later when they are calm, you can say, remember today when you were upset? Let's talk about that. But when they're enraged, it's not the right time. Engaged, don't enrage. Please subscribe if you like what you see, if you want more positive discipline techniques and parenting tips. Or you can follow me on Instagram at Join Whole Heart, or on my blog, joinwholeheart.com.